You know that feeling when you're just swimming in information, reading things, listening, but it doesn't quite click into real understanding.
Oh, definitely. Information overload, they call it. Loads of data. But finding those, like, real insights that actually shift your perspective, that's the tricky part.
That's exactly why we do this. Welcome to the deep dive. We try to take a bunch of sources, dig in, and pull out the core ideas, the aha moments for you, our listener. Today we're exploring the teachings of Ajaan Fuang Jotiko.
Yes, a really respected Thai meditation master. Our main source is this collection, Awareness Itself, put together by Thanissaro Bhikkhu.
Okay.
It pulls from works like The Language of the Heart, Transcendent Discernment, and others. And Thanissaro Bhikkhu mentions he adapted some stories a bit just to make them clearer for, a Western audience.
Makes sense.
Oh, and this newer version has a whole section on merit that wasn't in the 93 edition.
Good to know. So our mission today is basically to get to the heart of Ajahn Fuang's ideas on mindful living, using this text as our map.
Right. Where do we even start? There's so much here.
Well, his teachings, they're profound, but also incredibly practical. Maybe a good place to jump in is how he talks about engaging with the world, our words, our actions, mindfulness and communication, essentially.
Okay, yeah. The first section in the compilation is actually called Mind What You Say. So he wasn't like a big talker himself.
Not really, no. He spoke when it mattered, when the situation called for it. He really took to heart what his own teacher, Ajahn Lee, said.
Which was?
Basically, don't bother teaching the Dhamma, the teachings, if people aren't willing or, ready to actually listen. Otherwise, it just becomes idle chatter, yeah. Pointless.
There's that story about the matchstick, isn't there? Lighting it near students who are gossiping.
Yes, that's such a vivid image.
It really is.
He basically equated their talk to litter. Useless, maybe even harmful. It shows how he saw careless speech, just mental clutter, really. So it's about intentionality.
Exactly. Like a flame used purposefully versus just, scattered trash.
And it went beyond just avoiding gossip, didn't it? Something about intellectual honesty.
Oh, absolutely. He famously told a student who started an answer with, well, it seems to me.
Yeah.
He just said, if you don't know, say you don't know. Simple as that. He saw spreading ignorance, even unintentionally, as a real problem.
Huh. It's good advice for anyone, really. Just admitting when you don't know. And then there's that classic point, 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Right. Our own bodies are giving us a hint, aren't they? Listen more, speak less. It sounds simple, but it's actually quite profound if you think about how we usually operate.
He really practiced what he preached, too, didn't he? That story about the reporters.
Oh, yeah. Giving a whole sermon with just bud and ho.
That's it.
That was it. Talk about concise. It was partly his economy of words, but also, I think, a challenge. Like, here's the essence. If this isn't enough for you, more words probably won't help either, especially if they were just after a soundbite.
Okay, so mindful speech, crucial. What about taking things in? The next part of the book is mind what you eat. Is this just about, food?
Yes and no. He uses food and eating, especially the tongue flicking out for different tastes, as an analogy.
An analogy for what?
For desire in general, our tendency to constantly crave things, sensory things. He talked about needing to train that tongue, make it smaller, metaphorically speaking.
I love his answer when someone asks what food he liked. Food that's within reach.
Doesn't get much more practical than that, does it? It just cuts through all the fuss about preferences, exotic taste.
Yeah.
Just what's available, what sustains the body. That's enough.
It's very direct. What about that story with the oranges in the truck? The hungry ghosts comment.
Right. The student was trying to justify it. Like, oh, the teacher would want us to enjoy this. Ajaan Fuang's replaying was, well, a bit cheeky but pointed.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're going to act like hungry ghosts, those beings always craving, might as well eat your fill. It's a jab at how easily we rationalize our desires.
And the part about contemplating food, it wasn't about being disgusted by it.
No, not at all. When a couple found the idea of food's filthiness a bit much, he guided them differently.
How so?
He said, look at its basic nature, the elements it's made of, and then consider, well, our own bodies are made of the same stuff. And frankly, maybe even filthier if you look closely.
Ah, so it's about breaking down illusions.
Exactly. Seeing reality, understanding its function, not getting lost in ideas about it.
Okay. Moving on to people practicing the Dhamma. This section seems to tackle applying these ideas in the real world, dealing with everyday stuff, like that seamstress story.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Customer complaining she charged high prices.
Right. As if being spiritual means you have to be, bad at business.
And Ajahn Fuang's response was classic. Just, I'm not practicing the Dhamma to be stupid.
Huh. Love it.
Great point, isn't it? Ethical living doesn't mean you abandon common sense or practical skills.
And that advice about sorting yourself out first before trying to fix the whole world, that feels very relevant right now.
Timeless wisdom. It's easy to get caught up in external issues, but if our own inner state isn't, reasonably sorted, how effective can we really be? It starts within.
He also brings up death quite directly, doesn't he? Not morbidly, but as a motivator.
Yes. A sense of urgency. Don't be complacent. Our time is limited, so develop good qualities now. Don't put it off.
And it's not just about acting good, but knowing goodness, a deeper understanding.
Right. Going through the motions isn't the same as genuine inner transformation. True goodness comes from a real shift inside, not just following rules.
He had a very clear view on happiness, too. It comes from building the causes, not just wanting the result.
Absolutely. It ties into karma, doesn't it? Actions have consequences. You want happiness. Cultivate the causes, kindness, generosity, wisdom. Just wishing for it won't cut it. Especially, he'd add, while dealing patiently with past negative stuff.
What about dealing with negative influences, like that excuse about group pressure for breaking the precept about intoxicants?
His response was brilliant, I thought.
What did he say?
He just pointed to the group of meditators nearby and said basically, well, they aren't pressuring you to drink, are they?
Ouch. Effective, though.
Very. It highlights personal responsibility. You can't just blame the crowd for your choices.
I liked the story about the seamstress, the guava, and the 8 precepts, how it boiled down to just one precept.
Yes, not doing any evil. While the specific precepts offer structure, the core essence is simply refraining from harm. It makes ethics feel accessible, doesn't it?
Definitely. What about preparing for dedicated practice? His advice seemed quite intense. Tell yourself that you've died.
It sounds extreme, but the point is radical letting go. Drop the worldly worries, the anxieties, the to-do lists. Immerse yourself fully in the practice now. Mentally dying to your everyday concerns frees you up.
And he wasn't keen on notebooks, was he? Keeping notes on teachings?
No. He worried it could become just intellectual collecting. The Dhamma needs to be in the heart, lived experience, not just written down somewhere. Notes can become a crutch, stopping that deeper knowing.
So listen with the heart. Practice immediately. Active engagement.
That's it. It's not passive learning. It's about applying it, seeing how it works in your own life right away.
The gravel and diamonds analogy for conflict's useful?
Yeah, it's about focus, isn't it? Don't get stuck on the pointless negativity, the gravel. Look for the value, the diamonds, and any wisdom or understanding you can glean, even from difficult situations.
He also had specific advice for dealing with family, like parents who might not approve of the practice.
Yes, very compassionate advice. He stressed the huge debt we owe our parents and framed opposition as, maybe, a chance to work through old karma.
Without creating new anger.
Right. Patience, gratitude, equanimity. Not easy, but crucial.
And the warning about taking refuge, really sticking to the Buddha's path for practice.
It's about focus and commitment, I think. Trying to follow multiple paths or relying on other things for ultimate solace can dilute the effort and hinder real progress, in his view.
And relying on reason, not being dazzled by others' supposed powers.
Yes, critical thinking. Don't just be impressed by flashy stuff.
Yeah.
Develop your own wisdom. Trust your own understanding. It's about grounding the practice in reason.
Okay, let's talk about merit. That section had some interesting angles, like merit needing to really reach the heart.
Right. It's not just the action itself, the giving or the doing good. It's the intention behind it, the feeling in your heart, the positive shift within you. Without that connection, it's kind of superficial.
I like the grass at the corral gate idea, overlooking merit opportunities right under our noses.
It's a great reminder, isn't it? We often look for grand gestures, but opportunities for small acts of kindness, service, generosity, they're everywhere, every day if we just pay attention.
Like cleaning up someone else's trash, he mentioned, turning a chore into merit.
Exactly. It shifts the perspective. Suddenly, an unpleasant task becomes an act of selfless giving, done with the right mindset. Merit isn't elsewhere. It's right here.
What about asking for a share of others' paramis, their perfections? He wasn't a fan of that.
No, he saw it as fostering dependency, like being a beggar. His point was, develop your own good qualities, your own paramis. Be a source of good yourself. Don't just rely on others' spiritual capital. Self-reliance again.
He seemed quite firm on that, like refusing to go to someone's house just to receive a donation.
Yes, and that question, is her rice so special?
That only noble disciples can get to eat it.
Yeah. It cuts through any sense of hierarchy or special treatment around giving, People seeking merit should actively seek it out, and offerings should be given and received respectfully, simply. Humility was key for him.
But he also warned about getting attached to merit, didn't he? Even to good deeds or sacred things, the hungry ghost guarding the shrine.
That's a powerful cautionary tale. It shows even good things can become traps if we cling to them. Attachment to the reward, the status, the object itself, that attachment can bind us, even if the original act was wholesome. It's a subtle but important danger.
Let's shift to the student-teacher relationship. His views were quite specific. That line, a person who goes from teacher to teacher, doesn't really have any teachers at all.
It really emphasizes commitment, doesn't it? Finding someone you connect with and sticking with their guidance. Hopping around prevents that deep trust and understanding needed for real growth.
And him giving amulets to many, but rarely his close students.
Yeah, it suggests the real gifts weren't material. For the inner circle, the gifts were the deeper teachings, the personal guidance, the example things aimed at inner change, not external symbols.
His analogies for students were so vivid, the spoon and the curry.
Right, being near the teaching but not absorbing it.
The baby puppies.
Always needing help for little things, yeah.
And the gnats.
Overly attached, buzzing around the teacher constantly. He had a way with images, didn't he? They highlight common pitfalls in that relationship.
Definitely. Okay, let's talk about dealing with life's challenges. His advice feels so practical. When you do a job, don't let the job do you.
That's gold, isn't it? Maintaining boundaries, not letting work consume your whole identity or well-being. Engage mindfully, but don't let it take over.
And just acknowledging that real-life people face real-life problems. It sounds simple, but it's validating.
It is. It normalizes struggle. Facing difficulties isn't a failure. It's just part of being human. Everyone deals with stuff.
He encouraged resilience, though, fighting obstacles, being heartwood, not sapwood.
Yeah, cultivating inner strength, determination, don't crumble easily. Heartwood is tough, durable. Sapwood is softer, wears down faster. It's about building that inner core.
His way of handling criticism could be quite blunt, turning it inward. Who asked you to butt in and be born here?
It's jarring, but it cuts through self-pity, doesn't it? It forces a kind of radical ownership of your own existence, challenges that victim mentality.
And the idea that negative words only go as far as the lip.
That empowers you, right? You choose whether to let them in, whether to let them affect you. They're just sounds, ultimately. Recognize their impermanence.
The image of picking up and eating spit-out food for dwelling on criticism is, well, effective.
Visceral. Deliberately unpleasant. It really highlights the self-inflicted harm of obsessing over negativity that someone else has already let go of.
Or just pretend you have stones weighing down your ears. Simple.
A great mental trick. Filter out the noise, the unnecessary chatter. Protect your focus.
I liked reframing giving up grudges as a gift, like Prince Vesantara's sacrifices.
It elevates forgiveness, doesn't it? It's not just something you do for the other person. It's a generous act for yourself, liberating yourself. Echoes that selfless giving.
Then there are those short, sharp bits of advice. Think first before you act.
Essential. Considered action.
And beware of fall-in-the-well kindness.
Meaning, be discerning when you help. Make sure your good intentions don't accidentally cause harm to yourself or others.
Distinguishing between others' ideas of good and what's really good for you that requires inner wisdom.
Absolutely. Develop your own understanding. Don't just follow external opinions or societal pressures blindly. Know what truly benefits you.
Seeing hatred from others as being let off the hook, that's unexpected.
It flips the script, doesn't it? If someone dislikes you, maybe it frees you from the obligation to please them, the pressure of social niceties, an odd kind of freedom.
And the real battle, he suggests, is internal, winning over yourself, not others.
That's the core of it. The real victory is conquering your own limitations, your own negativity.
Yeah.
External wins are temporary. Inner change is lasting.
And that line, whatever you lose, let it be lost, but don't ever lose heart.
So important. Things come and go, circumstances change, but maintain that inner core, courage, hope, resilience. That's what matters.
Treating loss as a gift to end animosity, that's a powerful reframe.
It turns a negative into a potential positive, an opportunity to let go of resentment, find peace, maybe even reconcile.
And the ethical guide. Their taking what's yours is better than your taking what's theirs.
Very clear. Non-harming. It highlights the karmic weight of taking from others, even if you feel wronged. Avoid causing that harm yourself.
The idea, if it's truly yours, it will stay. If not, don't get worked up. Helps with letting go.
Exactly. A detached perspective. Things are impermanent. Holding on tightly just causes stress. Recognize the flow.
And prioritizing inner richness, generosity, virtue, meditation over outer poverty.
Yes, inner qualities are the real wealth. They bring lasting fulfillment, regardless of external bank balance or possessions.
When facing hardship, he suggests comparing your situation to those worse off.
It fosters gratitude, perspective.
And remembering you kind of hired yourself to be born.
That encourages agency, responsibility, stops the self-pity. These are mental tools to cope, to build resilience.
And always that underlying theme, everything passes, impermanence.
Fundamental. Knowing this helps detach, reduces suffering. Nothing lasts forever, good or bad.
His comments on relationships, the potential suffering from attachment, seeing sensual pleasure as an addiction, they're quite direct.
They are. It's the Buddhist perspective on how clinging, even in love, can lead to pain, and how powerful sensory desires are. It's an invitation to examine these things mindfully.
And that core message, you have to be your own refuge.
Huge theme. Self-reliance. Take responsibility for your inner work. Cultivate your own wisdom. Don't depend solely on externals.
Understanding how past pleasure fuels present craving, using that to find dispassion, that's an interesting technique.
Seeing the roots of desire can lessen its grip. If you understand why you crave something, often based on past memory, it can help you detach from the craving itself.
Okay, the section on the celibate life. Even for non-monastics, there seem to be insights there, like abandoning defilements being the hardest work.
Absolutely. The monastery is like an intensive lab for this work. But the core struggle dealing with our greed, anger, delusion, that's universal, and it is the hardest, most important work anyone can do.
And it requires constant effort, unlike maybe a 9-to-5 job.
Right. Inner work isn't clock in, clock out. Defilements pop up anytime. It needs continuous vigilance, ongoing effort.
Those analogies, women as vines for monks, the noose question for the nun considering marriage, very stark warnings.
Very. They use strong imagery to show how easily attachments, especially in close relationships, can entangle you and hinder the focused path, particularly within that monastic context, aiming for freedom.
His practical tips for monks were clever, though pretend you're alone after group stuff.
To cultivate solitude within community.
And pretend you're in a monastery when practicing alone.
To maintain discipline and structure when isolated. Smart balancing acts.
And the language trick to avoid unwanted chats?
Yeah, just answer in the other language. A pragmatic, maybe slightly cheeky way to protect practice time in a busy place.
The point that fasting alone doesn't starve defilements, because they're in the mind that's crucial.
Right. External practices help, but they aren't enough on their own. The real work is mental, training the mind through mindfulness, meditation.
And the Buddha's question, days and nights pass by, what are you doing right now? A real call to presence.
Definitely. A prompt to reflect. Are you using this precious time wisely? Are you engaged in what truly matters for growth?
Plus, the warning about teaching before your own practice is solid.
Essential. You need a firm foundation yourself before trying to guide others. Otherwise, you risk misleading them. Teach from genuine experience, not just theory.
Okay, on to meditation. His response, though, no time to meditate, and you think you'll have time after you're dead. That cuts deep.
Doesn't mince words, does he? It just hammers home the absolute priority of practice for overcoming suffering, finding peace.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
He really emphasized the meditation word Buddho as the path, didn't he? More direct than endless study.
Yes, as an anchor. A direct route to stillness, joy that goes beyond intellectual pursuits, beyond fleeting worldly stuff.
How he addressed fear of jhana, the deep states, was interesting, saying even non-returners end up in Brahma worlds, which is better than being, say, a dog.
It's a way of putting it in perspective, maybe. Reassuring people that even these advanced-seeming states lead to positive outcomes, certainly better than lower rebirths. Don't be afraid of progress.
And his advice not to talk about states you haven't reached or reveal the next step that promotes direct experience.
Exactly. Less theory, more practice. Discourages intellectualizing or anticipating. Let the path unfold naturally through your own effort and observation.
Like meditation having its own natural progression. And not keeping a journal to avoid making things up. Trust the process.
Right. It varies for everyone. Trying to map it out or document every flicker can interfere, even lead to fabricating experiences to fit expectations. Let it happen organically.
You have to be crazy about meditation if you want to meditate well. That suggests real passion is needed.
Wholehearted commitment, yeah. Enthusiasm, dedication, persistent efforts, not a half-hearted pursuit, if you want deep results.
And be your own teacher, trusting inner guidance.
Hugely important. External teachers guide, but ultimately, you cultivate your own wisdom, your own discernment through the practice itself. Trust that inner knowing as it develops.
He links persistence to conviction and discernment to mindfulness, a useful connection.
They feed each other, right?
Right.
Strong belief fuels the effort. Mindfulness sharpens the understanding. You need both to progress.
And persistence being mental, not just physical posture. Good reminder.
Yes. It's about the mind staying engaged, staying focused. Regardless of whether you're sitting perfectly still or walking, the mind's effort is key.
The latter analogy, climbing up, then jumping out the window by ending abruptly, that's so clear.
Vivid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't waste the effort. Let the mind settle, integrate the benefits. Don't just snap out of it after working hard.
And the basics. Mindful awareness of body and breath. Always central.
The anchors. Bringing the mind home, cultivating focus, developing awareness. Foundation stones.
I liked comparing the mind's ups and downs to raising a child, accepting good and bad days.
It brings compassion to the practice, doesn't it? Patience, kindness toward yourself. Progress isn't linear. Challenges are normal. Don't beat yourself up.
So observe objectively. Don't get carried away by excitement or dragged down by difficulty. Equanimity.
That balance is crucial. A non-reactive stance allows insight to arise, stops you getting derailed by temporary states.
And keen observation is key for progress.
Absolutely. It's not zoning out. It's active, refined noticing. Clarity, precision, sustained attention to what's actually happening in the mind and body.
Don't get distracted by others' experiences either. Focus on your own path.
Comparison is a trap. Your journey is unique. Stay with your own process.
And equanimity supports goodwill and compassion.
A stable, balanced mind is the ground from which those positive qualities can really grow and flourish.
Right. Concentration, even in constant, the ideal.
Yes, a stable, unwavering focus. That's the foundation for deep insight.
And that profound statement, to meditate is to practice dying.
Heavy but deep. It's about practicing letting go of attachments, illusions, the sense of self preparing for that ultimate release.
Moving to breathing, he makes it sound so universal, right? A starting point for anyone, regardless of belief.
Because it is. Everyone breathes. It's a natural, accessible anchor for mindfulness, for understanding the mind.
And once the mind settles on the breath, the Buddha repetition might fade.
Yeah, as concentration deepens, the verbal support might become unnecessary. Attention rests directly on the sensation itself.
Make the mind and the breath one. That sums it up nicely.
That's the goal, isn't it? Merging focus with the physical reality of breathing leads to stillness.
Avoid being a post planted in the mud. Be firm like a post in rock. Great image for stability.
Unwavering focus. Don't let the mind wobble or drift easily. Develop that firmness.
And holding the breath the way a red ant bites, that implies real tenacity.
Persistent focus. Don't let go easily. Stay with it. That's the kind of determination needed.
He clarified catching the breath isn't controlling it, just sticking with it. Important distinction.
Very. Gentle observation, sustained attention, not forcing, not manipulating, just watching its natural rhythm.
And getting to really know the breath going beyond just noticing it.
An intimate familiarity. Understanding its nuances, its subtleties. A deep connection.
Observing the breath itself causes pleasant feelings to arise, so the goal isn't chasing feelings.
Exactly. Focus on the observation diligently. Pleasantness is a natural result of a calm, concentrated mind, not something to actively grasp for.
Adjust the breath if you feel uneasy or heavy. Find comfort.
Right. Meditation shouldn't feel like a struggle. Gentle adjustments can create a more balanced, relaxed state conducive to practice.
And when focusing on breath at different body parts, notice feelings already there. Don't invent them.
Be aware of existing sensations linked to the breath in those areas. No need to force or imagine things. Just observe what is.
The breath can be a resting place or an object of active contemplation if the mind's busy. Flexible use.
Yes, it serves both functions. Anchoring a restless mind or actively investigating bodily sensations linked to it. Adapt the technique.
He suggested techniques like evening the breath, visualizing light to help cultivate stillness.
Practical aids. Refining the breath using visualization can deepen relaxation, peace, clarity.
The water filling a jar analogy for the breath filling the body that sounds satisfying.
It conveys that feeling of completeness, saturation, tranquility, as the breath awareness permeates the whole body.
And rapture intense joy as the lubricant for meditation. Pleasant states help.
They can, yes. Joyful feelings arising can deepen concentration, sustain focus, make the practice feel less effortful.
He outlined a progression from full breath to elements, space, then awareness itself. A path.
A systematic refinement of attention, moving from coarser objects to subtler levels of awareness.
Yes.
A structured approach.
In practice, moving between stages to develop discernment.
Builds flexibility, familiarity, allows you to observe different states with more clarity, understand them better.
The 6 elements as the basis for self-contemplation.
Fundamental Buddhist analysis. Earth, water, fire, wind, space, consciousness. Seeing the self as composed of these helps break down the illusion of solid, permanent identity.
And a solid foundation in the basics is crucial for any progress.
Can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
Stable mindfulness, concentration, that's the launchpad for deeper insight.
Meditation can be easy or hard depending on us.
Our attitude, effort, understanding, they all shape the experience. It's not just a technique, it's how we approach it.
Ajahn Lee's method too is an outline. Needs personal ingenuity.
Right. It provides the structure, but you have to bring your own understanding, adapt it, make it work for you.
And use its 7 steps to troubleshoot concentration issues.
A practical diagnostic tool. Helps pinpoint and address common roadblocks in breath meditation.
Breath meditation needs meticulousness for results.
Because the object is subtle. Requires careful, precise, sustained attention to really unlock its benefits.
Knowing how to look at the breath is key to discernment.
It's more than just feeling it. Observing its characteristics, its relationship to the mind, its impermanence, that's where insight comes from.
He mentioned 2 types of practitioners, those with visual signs, those with bodily sensations. Normalizing different experiences.
Yes. As concentration deepens, different phenomena arise for different people. Neither is better, it's just how it manifests.
Visions can have messages, but need careful attention. How, why, for what purpose? Mindful engagement.
Don't just dismiss them, but don't get swept away either. Examine them wisely, without attachment. They can offer insight sometimes.
But they're a double-edged sword. Potential for delusion, too.
Absolutely. Can be helpful, but can also lead to attachment, pride, misinterpretation. Need caution and discernment. The main goal isn't visions.
He suggested contemplating the body image from conception to death for detachment.
A powerful technique. Systematically seeing the body's arising, changing, and passing away breaks down that deep identification with it as me or mine.
Short flashes of intuition need continuous bearing down, like a record needle to grasp fully.
Sustained focus is needed. Insights can be fleeting. You need to hold the attention steady to really unpack their meaning.
Respond to visions with goodwill, but recognize karmic limits. Compassion without attachment.
Extend kindness, but accept that you can't necessarily fix everything you perceive due to complex karmic factors.
Yeah.
Maintain equanimity.
Goodwill like a candle. Sharing increases light for all. Beautiful.
Shows the expansive, non-diminishing nature of loving kindness. It benefits everyone involved.
Address anger from past life visions with present forgiveness. Take responsibility now.
The feeling is happening now. Even if the trigger seems historical, the release has to happen in the present moment through forgiveness.
The benefit of not remembering past lives, interesting take.
Suggests ignorance can be bliss sometimes. Avoids unnecessary complications, attachments, maybe old sores being rehashed.
Caution against believing even your own visions. Maintain critical discernment.
Crucial. Healthy skepticism towards all meditative experiences. Don't automatically accept them as ultimate truth. Test them.
The purpose is a pure heart. Other phenomena are games and entertainment. Keep the goal in sight.
Yes. Don't get sidetracked by interesting side effects. The core aim is inner purification, wisdom, release. Stay focused on that.
Okay, right at awareness. Simply be aware of experiences without taking them on. Non-reactivity.
Just watch. Observe without getting entangled, without identifying. This space between stimulus and reaction is where freedom lies.
The primal heart. Without characteristics, aware of everything. Our fundamental nature.
Pure, empty awareness. The ground of being before we start labeling and judging and identifying.
Contact leads to a lapse in mindfulness, then identification follows. How we get caught.
Yeah, a sensation or thought arises, contact, mindfulness slips, and boom, we're identifying with it, spinning stories. I feel angry, I want this.
So stay with primal awareness through strong mindfulness.
Constant, steady presence of mind. That's the practice. Giving awareness bright and continuous.
Feeling mistreated comes from being swayed. Contemplate mind's separateness from events.
See the gap. Events happen out there. Awareness is in here, Recognize that distinction, and events lose their power to disturb the mind so much.
Nothing is truly ours at death. So quiet the mind, just be aware.
Practice that letting go now. Detach from things, identities, even the body. Rest in simple awareness. It's preparation.
Let experiences go only as far as aware, not into the heart to cause reactivity.
Process them at the surface level of noticing. Don't let them sink in and trigger clinging, aversion, emotional storms.
Maintain a solid sense of simple awareness.
Ground yourself in that basic knowing. It's the foundation, the refuge.
Stay with awareness constantly upon waking. Integrate it.
Start the day mindfully. Set the intention. Carry that awareness through all activities.
Even feeling split into watcher and actor, maintain the watcher. Even outside formal meditation, mindfulness in action.
Yes. That observing quality doesn't require sitting still. Cultivate it while walking, working, talking. See your thoughts, feelings, actions as they happen with detachment.
Final big sections. Nature of mind and defilements. That quote. Our defilements have made us suffer enough. Now it's our turn to make them suffer. Proactive.
A powerful call to action, isn't it? Turn the tables. Actively work to understand and undermine those negative patterns that cause pain. Don't just be passive.
Different approaches for thinkers versus non-thinkers in meditation. Tailoring the practice?
Right. Some minds need analysis, investigation. Others do better with more direct, quiet awareness. Adapt the method to the mind's style.
Discernment that lets go of defilement is special, needs concentration as a base.
Insight isn't just random thoughts. True, liberating wisdom arises from a calm, stable, concentrated mind. Concentration provides the power.
Insight requires personal strategies. No one-size-fits-all.
You have to find what works for you, for your particular patterns, your understanding. Experiment, explore within the practice.
Don't try to remember insights. Real ones stick.
Genuine understanding changes you. It becomes part of your perspective. You don't need to memorize it, you live it.
Acknowledge bad thoughts without acting. Manage negativity.
Notice them. Anger arising. See it clearly, but don't feed it, don't act it out. This non-engagement weakens its hold.
Just watch thoughts, good and bad. They'll pass due to the three characteristics.
Impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self. All thoughts, all mental states have these qualities. See that, and you won't cling or identify so much. They arise, they stay a bit, they go.
Let the mind think, but don't fall for its thoughts. Maintain distance.
Observe the stream of thinking without jumping in and getting carried away by every story the mind tells. Detached observation is key.
Defilements like duckweed. Keep pushing aside, see the clear water, but know they'll reappear. Realistic view.
They're persistent. The work is ongoing. You gain clarity, but you have to keep applying mindfulness. Don't expect them to vanish forever easily. Learn to manage them skillfully.
Don't try to cut defilements. Get acquainted with their good and bad sides. Non-combative approach.
Interesting, isn't it? Understand them deeply. Their nuances, how they work, maybe even what subtle payoff they seem to offer. This deep understanding is more effective than just trying to suppress them forcefully.
Okay, last part. Release. Nibbana. People live with suffering but don't comprehend it, preventing liberation.
If you don't truly understand the illness, how can you find the cure? Deep experiential understanding of suffering, sukha, and its causes is the first step to freedom.
Those who know don't suffer as deeply. Wisdom lessens the sting.
Insight changes your relationship to suffering. You still experience difficulty, perhaps, but it doesn't overwhelm you in the same way. Understanding brings perspective and release.
Illness as a golden opportunity for contemplation.
A powerful teacher, if you use it that way, forces you to confront impermanence, the body's fragility, attachment, can spur deep insight.
Use discernment, not just concentration, for pain. See it as separate from awareness.
Don't just try to block it out with concentration. Investigate it. See, pain is there, awareness is here. They are distinct. This separation reduces suffering.
The ocean of suffering analogy. Now that you know it's an ocean, why don't you just cross over? Highlights potential for freedom.
Once you grasp the pervasiveness of dukkha, the motivation to escape, to find the other shore of nibbana, becomes very strong.
Buddha taught comprehension of pain, not necessarily its cure. Realistic expectation.
The goal is wisdom, detachment, handing the mental suffering around pain, even if physical sensation remains. Understanding it is key.
Illness reveals impermanence, fosters detachment from the body. A teacher.
Yes, it directly shows you this body is not stable, not reliable, not ultimately me. This insight helps loosen the grip of identification.
Notice subtle stress with each perception, deepening mindfulness.
Become aware of the tiny flickers of unease, tension, grasping, or pushing away that happen constantly with sensory input. Seeing this subtle stress is crucial for unraveling deeper layers of suffering.
Visualize bones disintegrating to question self. Powerful practice.
Deconstructs the illusion of a solid, lasting body. Helps see its elemental, impersonal nature. Undermines the basis of ego clinging.
The reason I still feel suffering is because I still have an I. Root cause identified.
The sense of a separate, permanent self, that's the linchpin of suffering. All attachment and aversion stems from this fundamental illusion.
Practice letting go now, daily, as prep for death.
Don't wait. Cultivate non-attachment in small ways every day. It builds the muscle for the ultimate letting go.
Be more afraid of birth than death. Buddhist perspective on the cycle.
Counterintuitive to many, but from this view, birth means re-entering the cycle of potential suffering. Death, if the mind is prepared, can be liberation from that cycle.
Don't get caught in dying symptoms. Lift the mind above the known.
Keep awareness clear, elevated, not fixated on the body's breakdown or familiar mental patterns. Aim for a state beyond ordinary consciousness.
Even investigating the breath reveals no inherent self.
Look closely. Where is the breather? Just changing sensations arising and passing. No solid entity there. This insight applies to everything.
That Pali phrase, kago patinasago mutianalayo, letting go of the breath in advanced stages.
Move beyond it, release concern. Don't cling to it as home, let it be natural. Instructions for deeper release, moving beyond even subtle objects.
Return all elements to nature. Turn observation to awareness itself.
Final stages of deconstruction. Letting go of identification with body, mind, experience, resting in the unconditioned, the knowing element.
Transcendent discernment arises with a special realization during letting go, verifying release.
It's not just intellectual. It's a direct, unmistakable experience of freedom, a profound shift that confirms the letting go.
Associating deeply with the breath unravels attachments, identity views, leads to freedom.
Consistent breath meditation becomes a powerful tool to see through illusion, dissolve clinging, and dismantle the false sense of self.
Conventional truths are resting spots, not ultimate refuge.
Useful for navigating the world, but they don't offer final security or liberation. Don't mistake them for the ultimate goal.
True refuge is basic awareness within, the Buddha potential inside us.
That inherent knowing, that pure awareness, that's the real source of safety, peace, wisdom. Find it within.
External things are temporary supports.
Helpful tools, guides, conditions, but not the essence. Don't rely on them ultimately.
Buddha taught self-reliance for true happiness. Find it yourself.
The path is internal. Teachers point the way, but you have to walk it. Cultivate your own inner resources.
External and internal things are impermanent, not truly ours, even mind thoughts. Total non-attachment.
Nothing you experience inside or out is stable or ultimately belongs to you. See this and let go of clinging to any of it.
Let thought constructs go, in line with their impersonal nature.
Recognize thoughts as just mental events, arising and passing, not me or mine. Don't get entangled in their stories.
Increased mindfulness leads to transcendent discernment, the path.
Consistent, dedicated mindfulness practice naturally cultivates the wisdom that sees reality clearly and liberates the mind.
Train mindfulness to be constant, focused, daily.
It's an ongoing training. Make it continuous, bring it into every moment. That's how transformation happens.
Final thoughts on release. Practice is going against the stream towards the source, resulting in ease through letting go.
It feels like effort initially, resisting ingrained habits. But the result of that effort, the letting go, is profound ease, peace, freedom.
Stages of practice are just names. Don't get stuck on them.
Labels can become traps, objects of pride or attachment. Focus on the process, the letting go, not the conceptual milestones.
Teach according to temperament, but all paths lead to letting go.
Methods vary, but the destination is the same. Release from suffering through wisdom and non-clinging.
The released heart, like fire in the air, not annihilated, but not clinging to new fuel. Profound image.
Liberation isn't nothingness. It's awareness free from the conditions that cause suffering. The fire of awareness exists, but it's not burning on the fuel of craving and ignorance anymore. It's free.
Wow. That really was a deep dive. So many layers. The core themes that just keep coming up are mindfulness in everything, right? Speech, eating, challenges.
Absolutely. And that constant thread of letting go,
Yeah.
letting go of things, sure, but also thoughts, the body, even the breath, eventually.
Yeah.
Releasing attachments to connect with that basic awareness.
And self-reliance. Finding your own refuge inside is a powerful message throughout.
What really strikes me is how practical it all feels, despite coming from, a monastic background. Some of those insights just stick being more wary of birth and death,
Yeah, that one's
for
challenging.
getting acquainted with defilements instead of just fighting them, or that red ant biting the breath image. They offer such different angles.
Totally. It feels like his teachings, the way Thanissaro Bhikkhu has presented them, offer a really accessible path to deeper understanding for anyone, really. So for you listening, maybe take this away. Think about that principle of letting go.
Hmm.
Where in your life right now, with the challenge you're facing, or maybe an attachment you notice, where could you apply that idea, even just a little bit? How might just cultivating more awareness, more presence, shift how you see things, something to ponder?